Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast, the Drafted Up Podcast. Today, we're continuing on with the Couch Scout series. We're diving into our top 10 tight ends. We're almost complete the offensive positions. That's Nick. I'm Theo. You know where to find us at DraftedUp_pod over on Twitter. More importantly, you can find the show, Apple, Spotify, YouTube. Search Drafted Up Podcast, like, rate, subscribe, review, share. We appreciate all of it. This is the time of the year to really dive into the show as we dive into these draft prospects before venturing back onto real football with fantasy and free agent moves, which we'll touch base a little bit on free agency stuff this week. How you doing, Nicholas?
Doing good. I was excited to do the tight ends. I've been hyping up the tight end class to you outside of the podcast for a couple months now. It's not heavy at the top, but it's deep though, for sure. I watched a good amount of guys.
Yeah, I was not able to dive into as many guys as I wanted. I only got 13 done. I was hoping to get to 20, but I did not. Real life was kind of crazy this week, but I disagree. I think it's top heavy.
I think the top two guys are far and away above than anybody else, and then after that, it could be any guy from like 3 to 7.
I would say, the top two guys, superstars, but my 3 through 6, I think they're NFL starting tight ends. And then...
Oh, I agree. I'm just saying they're not...
And then after that, it's
guys,
just...
Though. I don't think they're top 50 guys. Maybe one of them.
Maybe two of them. Maybe. I don't know.
I don't think two of them. I think one of them at most.
I haven't fully dove into my big board, so yeah, we'll see.
I think there's a lot of third round tight ends. Third, fourth round, fifth round tight ends. I think it's going to be deep in those rounds.
Yeah. So you meant by top 50 going in the top 50 picks, not top 50 on your big board.
I mean, even top 50 on my big board, okay. I probably only have 3, to be honest.
Okay. Who are the tight ends you watched who didn't make your list?
I got to pull away from my notebook here, everybody.
I would just tell you, but mine will be real quick. It's only 3.
I got a bunch of guys here. Benjamin Urosky, Thomas Fine-Don II from Notre Dame, Jackson Halls from Georgia Tech.
Nebraska.
Oh, yeah, Nebraska.
Fedon's Nebraska.
Yeah. Gavin Bartholomew, Pittsburgh. Ordone, the guy from Syracuse who's not a tight end.
Oronde Gadsden II.
He's fine, but he's not a tight end. He's not going to play tight end in the NFL, so I didn't even rank him, to be honest. Both the kids from Alabama, I didn't end up ranking. Bryson Nesbitt, North Carolina, I watched. The kid from Texas Tech, I watched. I watched like 17, 18 guys. So
yeah, okay. The 3 who I did watch who didn't make the cut.
That did not make the cut.
Luke Lachey, Iowa tight end. He is my tight end 13. Benjamin Urosek, Georgia tight end, is my 12. And Jake Bringingstole, the Clemson tight end, is my 11. Fedone is next on my watch list, the Nebraska kid.
I have 2 of those guys in my top 10. I will tell you that.
Well, I don't have reports on them, so I only just have them watched with no
You're good.
Full reports.
They're my 10 and 9. So it's not like they're deep in my top 10. But
I did rank Oronde Gadsden II. He is in my top 10.
I did not. Yeah, he's a receiver. I don't think he's going to play tight end.
Yeah. Well, he weighed in more than I thought he would at the combine, so his weight profile, he teeters there. But dive in. Who's your 10 through 6?
My 10 through 6. 10 is Luke Lachey, Iowa. 9 is Jake Bringingstole, Clemson. 8, Mitchell Evans, Notre Dame. 7, Terrence Ferguson, Oregon. And then 6, Gunnar Helm, Texas.
All right. At 10, I have a guy you didn't watch.
I'm sure.
Joshua Simon from South Carolina.
I have him. I did actually not watch him. He's one of the guys I did not watch, but he is on my list to watch.
Yeah, he had a nice combine, so I wanted to squeeze him in, and he ended up making my cut of my 13. He's my 10. Mitchell Evans from Notre Dame is my 9. Oronde Gadsden II from Syracuse at 8. Gunnar Helm Texas at 7, and Harold Fannin Jr. from Bowling Green at 6.
Where are we going?
Start with your guy, Lachey and Bringing Stool, and I'll
Okay.
see if I can quick get my notebook.
All right, yeah, you're good. I think there's a big gap here between Bringing Stool and Luke Lachey, between 10, 9, and then 8 being Mitchell Evans from Notre Dame. I think there's a pretty big gap between Evans and then these two guys. Luke Lachey is going to be like a good number 3, number 2 tight end. He's not going to be a superstar tight end, but he's consistently good enough at blocking and consistently good enough at catching the ball in like contested spots that Lachey's going to be on a team for probably a second contract, but he's not going to be a guy that you can rely on every down, every pass block. He's super inconsistent when it comes to run blocking and pass blocking. He's not in the right spots occasionally, but he does have all the techniques to be able to be a really good number 2 tight end. But like I said, he's not going to be your Trey McBride, your Travis Kelce, your Evan Ingram, your number 1 tight end. This is not going to happen. That's not who Luke Lachey is. He was a little bit banged up 2 years ago, and it kind of showed this year. But I do think next year, fully healthy, he has the chance to come back better than he was this year at Iowa. So I'd put him here at 10 because I think he's got a decent chance to be a 5-6 year NFL kind of guy and just be a second tight end in the NFL. And I kind of look at Jake Bringing Stool the kind of the same way, just a little bit more athletic because he's 10 pounds lighter than Lachey, but he was a huge recruit for Clemson coming in a couple years ago. Like, he was highly touted coming out of high school, and he chose to go to Clemson, which was a huge school. So I honestly respect that. I have nothing against that. He's 6'6", 241. Where was I going with that? He was a third-team All-ACC this year. He set career records at Clemson, so that's a huge accomplishment for a tight end. I just think he's a little bit more athletic, and he's going to be able to be more into an offense receiving-wise than Luke Lachey. But that's the only real separation. He's a little bit more athletic than Lachey.
Yeah, so the injury concern is my biggest thing with Lachey coming off the ankle injury.
I get it. Yeah.
And I also just felt he wasn't really explosive on tape. Like, he didn't really have much twitch. Like, he is, like you said, your prototypical.
He's not creative at all.
Tight end 3. No. But
he's not going to helm, baby.
I liked him as a run blocker.
He's okay blocking.
I thought he could stretch the field a little bit just vertically, but nothing after the catch. He's got strong
hands. He's got good. He's very reliable hands on like hands, third down. Yeah.
I think he does need to get stronger as a pass blocker and a run blocker. His base isn't good, but like the upper body strength is there to be an effective blocker at the next level. Yeah,
his power's all upper for a guy that's 6'6", 251. He needs to really lower his pad level and anchor down to block.
And then Bringing Stool, Clemson kid. I remember really liking, as I page through here.
I like him as more of a field stretcher.
Catch radius, red zone kind of guy. I think he's like one of those like mismatched tight ends. You bring him in, sort of like how the Lions bring in Dan Skipper, the offensive tackle, as like their third tight end. That's why I think he's your red zone mismatch. But I liked him vertically. I thought he could stretch the field that way. Red zone guy, big frame, catch radius, and then a movement. But he's not creative with the ball in his hands. He's not going to do anything yak wise. I also. Same thing with Lachey. Like I didn't think he was real twitchy or explosive as well.
No, they're not. They're even Mitchell Evans, my 8. Those guys are all straightforward tight ends. They're going to play the tight end position. They're going to be good for
they're the
5 to 6 yards on a catch.
Of this draft class.
Yeah, exactly.
Jackson Halls from Georgia Tech is another guy who's just a pure blocker, and that's why I did not watch him, because I just know he's not creative in the passing game. He's more of he's a straight blocker. So like he's sort of like Tip Raymond last year. Tip Raymond, real strong blocker, not much of a receiver, and Tip Raymond ended up going 3rd round to Arizona last year. So it wouldn't surprise me if a team does value Jackson Halls just because of his run blocking and pass blocking ability, that he would go earlier, but he's not going to give you much in the passing game.
thought Tip ended up going in like the second.
He might have been the back end of the second. I thought he was the
No,
beginning of the third.
he was round 3. He was round 3.
Okay.
But he was drafted way earlier than anyone expected him to.
Yeah.
But it was just based off him being able to block really well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what a lot of these guys are going to do. A lot of these guys are going to be tight end 2s, and they're going to get second contracts in the NFL. Like a good amount of this tight end class is going to be playing for 5 to 7 years down the road.
All right. I'll dive into the 2 that I had that you didn't rank. So I'll start with my 10, Joshua Simon, South Carolina, 6'4", 239, big hands, 10 and 1/8 inch hands, but the size is concerning. 6'4", 239. He's the smallest guy I watched, and it shows. His blocking consistency it's not there. Like he's willing to block, he just needs technique, refinement, consistency, all in that area, both pass and run support. And then, like I said, the size, 239. He's built more like a big slot wide receiver. It's got to be like a South Carolina type thing. Because they had Jaheim Bell last year. That was his concern. Smaller, weight and height wise. So that, and then injury history before he came over to South Carolina, he was over at Western Kentucky, and he had a knee injury the first game, which caused him to miss the remainder of the year. So we'll see there. But he's super athletic. It showed at the combine. He ran a 4.65. And you see that size speed combo. And it shows on tape too. He's really good at just finding the zone, sitting there, getting the ball, and he's really creative after the catch as well. Real good receiver, reliable hands, good route runner, consistent threat in the passing game. That showed both at Western Kentucky and South Carolina. And he's real versatile. They played him a little bit in the backfield at South Carolina, played him in the slot, occasionally on the outside. You got to worry about him on the line, though, being his size. But they did line him up there. But it's good to see that they were able to move him around. Whether he's an effective tight end at the next level, it remains to be seen. Like, the size is concerning. But I loved Jaheim Bell last year, and the tape's good. And I just think there's a spot for him in the NFL that I think a team will take a shot on, and a creative offensive guy will figure out what to do with him. And I felt the same way with Oronde Gadsden from Syracuse as well. But he showed up a little bigger.
It's not that I don't like Gadsden. I just don't think he's going to be a tight end. So I just didn't feel I could rank him with these tight ends.
Okay. But yeah, 6'5", 243 at the combine, 10-inch hands, long arms, 33.375. Hands catch radius are incredible, which obviously he was a receiver before transferring over to tight end at Syracuse. But, natural hands catcher, consistent, doesn't drop much, real good in traffic, big wingspan, body control, good route runner. Obviously comes from being a former receiver. His dad also played for the Miami Dolphins, and he was a wide receiver as well. Advanced route runner. Real good footwork, good break, creates separation. And then he's versatile. Like Syracuse, he started as a wide receiver, but then he moved to tight end here this last 2 years, and they moved him all over. Yeah, you got to get the records. Got to get the records.
And that's what it is. He's a receiver. Yeah. He was literally recruited as a receiver. They just happened to move him to tight end.
Yeah, he moves around. They utilized him at all sorts of formations there. His blocking obviously comes with the size. He's competitive. But
he tries.
His frame, it's not there. He's got to bulk up if he wants to be a tight end at the next level. Because I don't think he could play receiver in the NFL because he's 240 pounds. So he falls into this weird limbo. Does he cut weight, play receiver, or does he put on some pounds? And then I don't know where he ends up. But I think he's just a good backup tight end where you just use him in passing situations out of the slot. I did also notice that he did struggle with if a physical corner or a physical linebacker or safety was lined up against him, and they got in his face and it knocked him off, and he kind of just took him right out of the play. So he does got to be a little more physical with his routes and his jump.
Yeah, there's no way he blocks an edge at the next level, and he really struggled with linebackers and corners in college. They're all bigger and stronger at the pros, so I don't know what he's gonna do at the pros. So I don't think he plays tight end. I think receiver is
Mhm.
more of his route, but it's more of going to be like a joker card. I don't think he's going to have a set
Yeah.
quote for quote position. You can move him
Yeah.
around a lot, so you can just take
Sean,
advantage of some
Sean,
type of
Sean
matchups.
Payton will love Oronde Gadsden.
That is very true.
Ultimately, I don't know once I get more guys if these three guys at my 8, 9, and 10 end up in my top 10, being
Mhm.
Simon, Gadsden, and Mitchell Evans from Notre Dame. They were my bottom three. There.
Yeah, Mitchell
So,
Evans he's my 8. He's bottom 3,
Yeah.
but I like him a lot. I think he's got decent potential to be not again a tight end 1, but a really good tight end 2 at the next level.
Yeah, well, let's talk Mitchell Evans. He's next. I have him at 9. You had him at 8.
8, yeah. You know I'm a sucker for those Notre Dame tight ends. Dude. Freaking Michael Mayers, who's a good tight end too. That's what he is.
Yeah.
Mitchell Evans is the wish version of Michael Mayer. He is the exact same thing you want out of a tight end. He's gonna check down in the middle. He's gonna secure the third down catches. He's gonna get first downs on a lot of his catches. He's a quarterback's friend. That's what he is as a tight end. He's not gonna go out there and be spectacular, but I think at the next level, he's good for 400, 500 yards if a team gives him the chance. Especially as a tight end too. I think he can really come onto the field, block his ass off when need be. He'll block the hell out of an edge, a linebacker. He'll block, dude, which I love. So there's not much. Obviously, he's not explosive. He's not going to be the tight end 1 kind of guy like I talked about. But I think he's got high upside as a tight end too.
Yeah, he's got the frame, 6'5.5",
Yeah,
258
he's huge,
pounds.
dude.
He's got sawed off arms. His arms are short, under 32 inches.
Yeah,
Good
for
size
sure.
hands though, 9.5. But yeah, I noticed on tape his blocking proficiency was
Yeah, dude,
so
he will
good.
get under your pads, dude, and he'll lay
strong
out.
blocker, good bend, good frame, good base, functional strength. You know, he seals up defenders, creates movement in the run game. He's physical, he's aggressive, like really effective blocker. And then Notre Dame, I noticed he lined up in various spots, which I noticed a lot of these guys was the case. Like they used him in line, they used him in the backfield, they used him at the slot, they put him in motion, even though that's not really his game, but they were moving him around the offense, so that was good to see. But the athleticism is concerning, and that's why he's so low.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
For me, he tested poorly. 4.74 at the combine. He only had a 31-inch vert, 9'7" broad. So he does lack that explosiveness. And then the injury history, he broke his foot in 2022, had a torn ACL in 2023. So those two things, and maybe those injuries are a reason for the lack of athleticism in terms of the explosiveness, but those two come hand in hand, and it does worry me that we've had big injuries for him, a broken foot, ACL, back-to-back years, and then the lack of strong testing is what really put him down on this. But he is a prototypical tight end too, so it wouldn't surprise me if he goes earlier like Tip Raymond. Whereas if a team has your receiving style tight end and they want to run some 12 personnel, and a team drafts him to play that role, and he's in that role, he's better than most of the guys above him.
A lot of these guys, yeah, for sure. He can go onto the field, short downage. He can block his ass off on an edge. I like him third downs. He's really consistent too. He can quick get to the outside, check down kind of guy for a bigger tight end. Yeah, he just does what tight ends should do, like old school gritty tight ends. He's not like a flashy tight end, which I love. I'm not gonna sit here. I love the flashy tight end compared to the gritty tight end. But Mitchell Evans is a gritty tight end, and I do like.
Yeah, and there's always a place in the league for those guys. Yeah.
Yeah, they play forever.
Let's talk Gunnar Helm. We both had him at 7. Texas tight end. You have him at 6. Okay.
Yeah.
Who'd you have at 7?
Terrence Ferguson.
Okay, he was in my top 5. So we'll talk him and Fannin.
Yeah, we'll get to him.
Yeah. So Gunnar Helm.
Fannon's in my top 5.
Yeah. Yeah, I was hoping. Else I would be like, man, this guy didn't put Harold Fannin in his top 10. Just doesn't think he's a tight end.
Not a tight end.
Yeah. Gunnar Helm, Texas. I have him at 7. You have him at 6. 6'5", 241, 32.75 inch arms, almost 10-inch hands. Great hands though. Catch radius.
Dude, his hands are crazy, dude.
So good. Super reliable hands. Only had 2 drops in his whole college career. Good catch radius as well, which comes in almost having 33-inch arms. That's going to happen. Good body control. I noticed that, and you're going to need that with Quinn Ewers out there just not always the most accurate quarterback. And I thought he was pretty good in contested catch situation. This is a tape guy. You got to watch the tape, and if your first experience of Gunnar Helm was the combine, you're gonna be like, why is this guy in a top 10? And then you watch the tape. Yeah, he did. I think
he sprained his ankle on a false start on his 40, and then didn't tell anyone, and then proceeded to run his 40 on a sprained ankle and get like a 4.9, and people freaked out. But he did clock in officially at a 4.8. But that's with a sprained ankle, dude. He's gonna run his 40 again on his pro day, and he's gonna run faster than a 4.8 because he's really good after the catch, dude. I don't know if you noticed that, but he's creative with the ball.
Yep.
Like he gets the ball in his hand and he's shifty, dude. He wiggles, he jukes, he stiff arms.
He's more agile and quick than he is fast.
Oh yeah, he's way more game fast.
He's not a speed guy, but he's agile. He's got fluid hips.
He makes things happen with the ball.
Yeah, really good route runner. Like I noticed that as well. He's got good footwork. Finds the spots in coverage, adjusts his routes. He's really good in contested catch situations. And I thought he was a good blocker too. Competitive blocker.
He really tries when it blocks, and that's what you want.
Pass pro than he was run blocking, though. So obviously got to sure up the technique there. But I thought he was a really good pass blocker for Texas.
Yeah, I agree. He just needs to get a little bit better run block technique. He needs to get his hands in the right place, keep him in, not out. He goes wide when he blocks.
Yep.
But yeah, dude, I like Gunnar Helm, dude. He runs through his routes. Like he maintains his speed through all of his routes. His great hands, his catch radius. He's got good hips, dude. He plays really light for a guy that's 6'5", 241. And he's going to run faster at his pro day because he's not going to have a sprained ankle. And he's a dog, dude. He's going to get in there and just try every single play. And he was committed, dude. He played all his college ball at Texas, and that was through a coaching change. And the organization was in shambles, and then thankfully it just came back. And Gunnar Helm's kind of one of the leaders in that locker room for Texas. I really do like Gunnar Helm. He's right outside my top 5, my 6. I think he has a chance to be a pretty good tight end, and he's gonna make his career after like yards after the catch, across the field kind of routes, getting the ball in motion. Gunnar Helm's pretty athletic, and he's a sprained ankle. He looked great in the
he's
routes.
A much better athlete than is tested, like you said. Sprained ankle,
for sure.
I think he does creep into the 4.7s when he does run in his pro day.
Agree.
So it's more long speed and just overall speed that you got to worry about. He's still shifty, more agile than quick.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I ended up. I was worried that like his testing was going to kind of. Like maybe I was just missing things because I only briefly watched him before he tested, and then when I got into it, I'm like, no, like the tape is better than the performance there. So
yeah, like
a good pro day for him could elevate him into the top 5
for sure. I liked Gunnar Helm a good amount, and then you and I were together when he ran that 40, and you leaned over and looked at me like Gunnar Helm just ran a 4.9, and I'm like, that's not right. How that even happened? And he gets continued to go out there with that sprained ankle, and then thankfully the news came out afterwards. But on tape, dude, he looks way faster than that. He's gonna run like a 4.7-ish. Yeah, dude. He's just really good with the ball in his hands, and that's what you want out of a shifty tight end. He's not explosive, but he's gonna be a really good receiving tight end in the next level. And like you said, he's gonna go out there and try to block his ass off, and that's really all you can ask for. If you're not gonna be an elite blocker, at least tell me you're gonna attempt to do it. Put your body down on the line, be a dog, and make the plays that need to be made.
Yeah, with tight ends, I do value the effort and willingness to block
100%
more than I do like them being good or great at blocking or bad. Like if they're willing to do it and the signs are there to improve with coaching, and they'll get better once they're on an NFL regimen. They'll get stronger. That's what I value, the effort. Like if a guy gets blown by once and gets overpowered by an edge rusher, that happens. Edge rushers are going to overpower a tight end. But if the effort was there, that I do value that.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. And obviously there are going to be guys that are schemed out of blocking in the next level. And even in college, they're not, some of these guys are we're not going to ask you to block because it's just not who you are. But Gunnar Helm was out there. He was trying his best for a really big organization too in college. Texas, he played 4 years there. Started 1 year. Like he's a 1 year kind of guy for Texas, but he's a leader, dude. He'll get those guys under him.
Playing behind Jatavian Sanders there, but and I think the NFL is going to love the fact that he went out there at the combine with that busted ankle and performed. Yeah.
I think teams are just going to love the way that he stuck through Texas, the coaching change, and then rebuilt the organization as one of the leaders, went out to the combine, ran on the bummed ankle, and then afterwards brought it up. He didn't bitch about it, didn't tell anybody. I really think NFL teams are going to like Gunnar Helm.
Yeah. All right. We'll talk about Terrence Ferguson next. You're 7, my number 5. So he did make it in my top 5. 6'5".
We have Harold Fannin and Ferguson flipped. I have him at 5.
Yeah, I have Fannin at 6. Terrence Ferguson, 6'5", 247, 32.875 inch arms, so almost 33 inch arms, 9.25 inch hands. For me, putting him at 5 was more of a projection. Like, on tape alone, I preferred Fannin. Fannin had much better tape than Ferguson, but I think Ferguson's game translates a little better to the NFL than Fannin's does, and that's why that's the reason I have him at 5. Great combine too. Maybe I'm valuing his combine a little bit too much, but 4.63, 40, 39-inch vert, 122-inch broad. He was towards the top, if not the top, amongst all tight end prospects. And the athleticism, that explosiveness, it shows on tape. Really good receiver, big, strong target, great body control, good ball skills, wins in contested catch situations, perfect build to be a red zone tight end. Also, like Oregon put this guy everywhere. He was playing on the line. He played H-back, played in the slot. They moved him around, which is important to that, Oregon offense. They're always moving pieces around and getting quick options out there with Dylan Gabriel, and that dates back to Bo Nix as well. So I thought he was really effective. I love the size. I love his athleticism. Route running needs to touch that up. His legs are a little stiff, but his routes aren't crisp, but the effort's there, and he doesn't really create separation. And then blocking, he's inconsistent as a blocker. Again, he's willingly blocking, but it's just improving his technique and being more effective in that area as well.
Yeah, pretty much everything. I agree. I have Harold Fanning, Gunnar Helm, and Terrence Ferguson all in the same kind of bucket.
Me too.
Ferguson's done this all. He's done it for a couple of years now. This year, he set a bunch of school records from the tight end position, receiving catches, 134 in his career, reception touchdowns, 16, and then he finished like 20, 25 yards short of the Oregon tight end record, which I think is held by Ed Dickson, Panthers legend. And then 2023, he was still first team all Pac-12. So it goes back to 2023. He was really productive. 2022, he was honorable mention for all Pac-12 conference. So he's been consistently playing for Oregon for a while. And then this year, he kind of took off. He had a really good year. I just think Gunnar Helm runs a little bit cleaner routes. He separates a little bit better. He's better after the catch. He blocks a little bit better. But like you said, Ferguson does everything really well. He doesn't have many bad flaws. He just doesn't have any elite kind of categories.
Yeah,
but he's really good. He's really consistent.
Is the athleticism. That's why.
For sure, yeah.
But and obviously you see that in my list with Joshua Simon and Aronde Gadsden. They're not your prototypical build tight ends, but really good athletes. And I try to find a middle ground there with my tight ends. But like I said, I don't know if those guys end up at my top 10 once I do my full watches. But yeah, Ferguson's bump for me is the athleticism. I think he's a better athlete than Gunnar Helm and Harold Fannin.
Yeah, I could. Yeah. Athletic wise, for sure. I just think the other two guys play a little bit cleaner football. But Ferguson, he's going to be a really good number 2 tight end. He's going to get a second contract in the NFL. He just does everything really right. And he's done it for a really good college for a couple years now. Oregon is no slouch, dude. Like, they're consistently one of the best teams in college. And for you to go out here and do this consistently, it's pretty impressive.
I, low-key, would love for him to end up in Baltimore to eventually take over for Mark Andrews per se, but Isaiah likely takes over for Mark Andrews. Ferguson then slides into the tight end 2 role. I think he would fit Baltimore really well.
Ferguson has a lot of similar traits to Mark Andrews, though. Like, they're very they're bigger guys. They can length, spread the field, take big strides. They're bulky. They'll hit some guy. Ferguson's just not as clean, obviously, but most people aren't as clean as Mark Andrews, one of the best tight ends in football. But
except in the playoffs this past year.
Dude, he always checks out. The whole Ravens organization checks out in the playoffs lately. It's crazy. But I like Ferguson a lot. I like a lot of these tight ends.
Yeah, let's talk Harold Fannin Jr., Bowling Green tight end. I have him at 6. You have him
5.
5. All right.
Stat machine.
Incredibly productive guy. His numbers
That's what happens when you are the offense, my guy.
Wild numbers there. And
Yeah.
Shout out Bowling Green. They hired Titans legend Eddie George to be their new head coach. Their head coach left to go to the Eagles. So Harold Fannin just going to end up in Philadelphia and take over Dallas Goedert's job eventually. And he's just going to be a superstar tight end because he's in Philadelphia and they draft better than almost everybody in the league, if not everybody.
Yeah. Dude, his stats are crazy. Led FBS with 117 receptions, 1,500 receiving yards. Oh my God, 10 receiving touchdowns, 13 games, 12 starts, dude.
Didn't even win best tight end in the nation, though.
No, he was the first tight end in FBS history to win conference player. He won the MAC player of the year, dude. He's unbelievable season. But he was literally Bowling Green's whole offense. There was if they were passing the ball, it was going to Harold Fannin Jr. There was no questions about it, dude. And he's quite the athlete.
He's the Ben Sinnott of this class. Similar play style, game. He's a better receiver than Ben was.
See, I kind of thought that from the Georgia kid. I thought he played a lot like Ben.
Yurosek?
Yeah. I thought he was very similar to Ben Sinnott.
But real good receiver, excellent hands, exceptional hands. His hands were incredible. Great body control. His ability to find the zone, soft spot is there. He adjusted his routes, real clean route runner, really athletic, agile, speed. Again, another person who I think is a better athlete on tape than he tested. Like he ran like a 4.7. He didn't look like he ran a 4.7 on tape.
Yeah, he ran a 4.7.
But he creates mismatches against linebackers and safeties. Like they can't cover him. And incredibly successful after the catch. He was a yak machine there. He was like a tight end version of Deebo Samuel out there for Bowling Green.
Dude, that's a really good comparison. He plays a lot like, and it's he plays a lot like Deebo from the tight end position, and it's really weird to watch, and even just to describe to someone that really has never seen Harold Fannin. He's not a prototypical tight end. He's like 6'3", 240.
Yep.
So he's not huge and he's not tall, and but man, he gets to his top speed really quick, dude. He's in and out of routes quick. He probably has the best setup in this class, I would say. Like he'll make a guy look loopy out there, dude. Like he'll get you with his head bobs, his hip dips. Like the way he runs routes is clean, dude.
Yeah, he runs like a receiver, and it helps like a high IQ guy. He played defensive back in high school, so really good at recognizing the defense, and I think that helps with his positioning and his route running. Is the fact that he used to be a defensive player, and I hope he ends up with one of those creative guys like San Francisco. They let go of Kyle Juszczyk today. Put him in that role and backing up George Kittle. Maybe taking the underneath stuff from Deebo. I don't know. I would love
I don't think he can run block like Kyle Juszczyk.
No. But passing game wise,
hey man, he can catch. You can catch with the best of them.
Yeah, I would love to see him. Detroit figures out a way to. Well, Ben Johnson's not there anymore. Maybe Chicago gets him. And Cole Kmet, he's fine, but this is just a chess piece here for Ben Johnson. Sean Payton, one of these real creative offensive guys. I think will have a ton of fun with Harold Fannin. But really fun player. He was my favorite player to watch from this class. I don't know how much of his game transitions to the NFL. That's why he's so low. But like I said, these 6 guys, like my top 6, even Gunnar Helm, I think could be a tight end 1 somewhere. But I think all these guys that we're going to talk about from my 6 up are potential starters in the NFL, plus side starters.
I would go my top 7. I think Ferguson could be a starter in the NFL. But then like Mitchell Evans and then obviously guys way below him.
I think they tail off after that. In my eyes.
Yeah, but I think these guys, they're all in obviously different buckets going forward. But I think all 7 of these guys can be starting tight ends in the NFL.
Yeah. Anything else on Fannin? Do you want to bring to the table?
I don't think so, man. He's stiff when it comes to like. He obviously can't block because he's small.
Smaller.
But he tries ish. He'll attempt.
Yeah, but
he is
that's
stiff.
playing
He
lesser
doesn't-
competition, and I don't know if he's going to block anybody in the NFL.
Probably not. He's going to be blocking not a lot in the NFL. I don't even want to say not a lot. It's probably not going to happen. But I have hope. Yeah, he could slim down a little bit and be like an H-back kind of guy.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to be a tight end, but man, I wanted to have him higher than 5. I feel bad just because of his productivity and the way he was used, but I don't know. Like I have the guys above, the 4 guys I have above him, I think are all going to be really good NFL tight ends.
Yep.
And they're built different, dude. They're like, he's 6'3", 240. That's a little concerning.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah. He's a
like
much
you said,
better version, again, of like Jaheim Bell. I bring him up again because that was his concern last year was his size, but Fanning's like an elite version of Jaheim Bell.
Yes, he is an elite version. And again, Bowling Green, the competition's a little bit less than LSU, Miami, Texas, Oregon.
Yeah.
Penn
He's not
State,
playing
like
SEC teams, but Bowling Green, I believe it was Penn State. They played Penn State, and Harold Fanning looked good against them. So
I believe it was, and he shelled out for sure.
Yeah. All right, before we continue on and dive into the rest of our top 5, let's shout out our friends over at W Energy. W, they pride themselves on full ingredient disclosure, clean ingredients, no artificial stuff, no dyes. It's all natural. They use a coffee fruit extract, so it's jitterless energy. Like you're not going to have that break and that crash that you get from, a Monster or a Red Bull. It's good stuff. They dropped a new flavor out recently called Tiger's Blood. It's strawberry, watermelon, coconut. They also have a Japanese soda flavor out. Ton of new stuff rolling out. I'm rocking the blue tropical punch right now. It's delicious. The Dub Sludge as well, one of their OG flavors. The apple with the mystery sauce and other good stuff. But they also have, hydration stuff. If you just struggle with your water intake, get a little flavor in your water. Check them out. That's W Energy, DUBBY. W.GG is their website. They have a mobile app, so you can find them on your Play Store or your Apple App Store. And then, more importantly, support the podcast. Use the code DRAFTEDUP for a nice 10% discount on your order. Be better with W Energy. Eat that dub.
He got it.
I got it.
He got it. Good job, buddy.
Your fake catchphrase for our lovely sponsors over at W.
I love the people at W, but such a good catchphrase, dude. Eat that dub.
All right. Top 5. You have Harold Fannin at 5. I have Terrence Ferguson. So, who's the rest? Who are your top 4?
Top 4? Number 4, Mason Taylor, LSU. Number 3, Elijah Arroyo, Miami. 2, Colston Loveland, Michigan. 1, Tyler Warren, Penn State. I am not going to lie to you. All day, I'm like, I'm just gonna have Colston Loveland 1, and I'm just gonna be fine with it. And it is what it is. He's so good. And I was like, Tyler Warren was so good this year, dude, and he was sucking. Oh man, he's unbelievable. I just couldn't justify it in my own head, so I had to stick with Warren at 1.
It really depends on what you're looking for in a tight end, and I've told you off camera. If a team on April 24th or 25th takes Colston Loveland before Tyler Warren gets drafted, I'm not going to be upset or angry about it.
I won't care because I personally like the way Colston Loveland plays tight end more than how Tyler Warren plays tight end. The way Loveland plays tight end is how I identify as that's what I want out of my tight end. Like if I was drafting a team like Brock Bowers, Colston Loveland, those are the kind of field stretchers. And it's not that Tyler Warren is not. Tyler Warren he's gritty, he's a dog, and he'll do anything for the team that you ask him, and he's going to make any NFL team better. But he's not like a field stretching kind of tight end like Jimmy Graham was, Greg Olsen, Jeremy Shockey. Those are my kind of tight ends, but they're also going to go out there and still block their ass off, which Colston Loveland does as well.
Yeah. Tyler Warren.
We'll get there though.
Yeah. Tyler Warren, he reminds me of Dallas Clark.
Oh, dog. One of the most underrated tight ends of all time, baby.
So at 4, I have your guy Elijah Arroyo from Miami. 3, I have Mason Taylor from Louisiana State.
I get
2 is Colston Loveland from Michigan.
See, you wanted to do it too.
1, Tyler Warren from Penn State. Well, okay, I do. I've been on the Colston Loveland train for a long time. I fell in love with this dude watching J.J. McCarthy last year. I'm just like, man, this tight end is a superstar.
No, his 2023 was phenomenal. He just couldn't come out. If he would have came out, he would have been right there.
It's just that Tyler Warren was some kind of special this year. But
Exactly.
You want to talk about let's do Arroyo and Mason Taylor, both similar players in my eyes.
They are very similar.
Watching them, I was like, man, these guys are like the same dude. You want to talk Arroyo or do you want to talk Taylor?
Doesn't matter to me. You tell me.
All right. Well, I got Mason Taylor on my screen right now, so we'll talk him. Mason Taylor, LSU tight end. I have him at 3. Nick has him at 4. 6'5", 251, 32 and a quarter inch arms, 10-inch hands, big body, great receiver, chain mover.
Yeah.
Almost 70% of his completions were first downs. Outstandingly reliable hands. 1 drop last year. Exploits the weakness in zone coverage, real good route runners, really fluid and smooth, which was good to see considering, 6'5", 250. You don't see a lot of smooth route runners there, and, capable of creating separation, finding soft spots in coverage. Like I said, real versatile. His ability, they lined him up everywhere, which, like I said, I've brought that up with a handful of guys, but LSU was moving him around. High football IQ. In case you're wondering, his dad's a Hall of Famer. Jason Taylor, former Dolphins edge rusher. So the football IQ's there, the football pedigree. LSU moved him around the lineup, but he does need to improve the blocking. Like I said, willing blocker, but plays high, blocks high. He exposes his chest a little bit. So it limits his effectiveness in run blocking. He's got to get down a little bit more. And then he's got to improve at the point of attack as well as a blocker. And then I didn't think he was overly explosive or his long speed wasn't there, but I think he's a good athlete at the next level. I think his game is going to transition really well to the NFL. All right, give me your thoughts there on Mason Taylor, LSU.
Big fan of Mason Taylor. He's very similar to Elijah Arroyo, which you did mention. He's such a natural mover when it comes to like his route tree. His route tree's deep too. Like his route tree goes multiple routes and multiple levels. He's a really good receiving tight end, and his hands are good. You've seen it on that route, the combine, the drill where they run straight down the line. I don't know what the fuck it's called. Mm-hmm. It's fucking. It's the drill Puka blew up on. That's what drill it's called.
The gauntlet.
Is it the gauntlet? But he ran, dude, well, so straight, and you see him poised, dude.
So crisp.
It was crazy. Receivers don't even run on routes like that and that clean. He's such a really clean receiving prospect. He like you mentioned, he blocks a little bit high. He's not the greatest blocker, but his effort's there, which is really good. I did notice he runs all of his routes at the same speed. Like he's not like Gunnar Helm where it's very consistently fast. He's just kind of monotonally running through his routes, and he's not very creative after the catch. Like he's not gonna have the Gunnar Helm career after the catch. He's just gonna, or he's a really good contested, big body, physical tight end that's not gonna be good after the catch. But he's a really good route runner, dude, and he's gonna separate really well on linebackers and out catch corners because of his size. I think Taylor's got a pretty bright future. And like you said, his dad's a Hall of Famer, so teams are going to give him multiple opportunities just based on his bloodline, his athleticism, and who he is as like what his dad did and whatnot. So I don't know. I think there's a chance he goes back end of the second, early third now with his combine. He ran really well.
Yeah, him doing the combine and all the drills was a big boost for him, considering Loveland wasn't able to do it. Tyler Warren opted out. Elijah Arroyo was hurt. Gunnar Helm busted up his ankle, so his combine wasn't great. Harold Fannin was a little shaky on the athletic stuff at his combine. Like, him and Terrence Ferguson, to me, were the big risers from the combine. Like, the fact that they all weren't there really was a boost for both those dudes. But, yeah, I ended up liking Mason Taylor a lot more than I thought I was going to. I thought he would be more 5. I thought Harold Fannin would get in here, and then Elijah Arroyo would be there. But now Mason Taylor, I was in. I'm in.
Yeah, I expected to have like Fanigan for sure, or Harold Fannin for sure above Taylor. I expected to have him in the realm of Gunnar Helm and Terrence Ferguson. But yeah, dude, I really didn't buy the hype until I really sat down and watched Mason Taylor. And dude, he's clean, dude. His routes are crazy. His hands are crazy. He's going to be a really good receiving tight end at the next level.
Yeah. Yeah. I think my top four guys, Arroyo, Taylor, Loveland, and Warren, could find their ways into my top 50. I know we touched on that at the beginning there. Like I think these
I don't think
Arroyo and Taylor
will.
are fringe. Well, I have Taylor higher. He's my three.
Well, yeah.
So
for you.
I think they'll be towards the back end of the 50, maybe just right outside. But yeah, I would take the top Arroyo and Taylor. I would take in the second round.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a chance that they are second round picks, and I like them as second round picks. But again, that's 32 picks each round. That's 64.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think both of them are going to be top 50 guys, but I think Arroyo has a chance to be in the top 50 for me. He's a borderline guy.
Let's move on. Elijah Arroyo, Miami tight end. Take the way.
I shouted them out during our prospect series a couple weeks ago. Dude, he's a 1 year guy. His first 3 years at Miami, he literally had 11 catches combined out of the first three. He really didn't play his first year, and then he was hurt the last 2 years. He's been banged up, and that's his red flag right there off the bat. He's had injury concerns. But coming into college, he was a really high recruit, and now this year he was finally fully healthy with a fully healthy, good quarterback in Cam Ward, and Elijah Arroyo popped, dude. He went off.
They did.
He was 35 for 590 and 7 touchdowns, 13 games, second team all ACC. He didn't mess around, dude. He was phenomenal this year, dude. He's so fast. He only had 1 drop on all of his targets, and his targets aren't like dink and dunks. They're 10 yards average target. So this he's contesting catches, he's separating. Stretcher. He does everything I want out of a tight end as a receiver. He's not going to block well like Tyler Warren or even Colston Loveland, or probably even Mason Taylor, to be honest. But he tries. His hands are always out wide, but he has a little bit of an attempt. It's not like a Mason Taylor attempt, but he blocks enough. But I think he's a better receiver than Mason Taylor. I think Elijah Arroyo at his healthiest and his best is right there, like receiving wise with Colston Loveland. He can separate. He's a field stretcher. His hands are super strong. He is almost a perfect receiving tight end. It's just that he's super banged up the first couple years in college. So that's a big red flag. But if you're just going off last year, dude, he is phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah, he's good. And then he doesn't look 250 on tape. He looks smaller.
No, dude.
Like
he flies.
When he came in at 250, I'm like, wow. Like, he looks like he's 235, 240.
It's impressive.
He came in at 250, and none of that athleticism was affected. And a true 6'5", like big build, really athletic. Like you said, I thought he was really twitchy, really agile, especially for how big he is.
Yeah.
Great separator. He's so dangerous in the middle of the field. Like if he runs a crossing route and Cam Ward hits him in stride, he can fucking just house it. And then he's also a vertical threat. Like you can hit him down the field, down the seam, and he's so dangerous. Real good route runner. Real manipulative with his feet. He finds that soft zone in coverage. He sets defenders. He's really crafty. Like I said, optimal separator. Like I was so impressed with how much he separated. That was the difference between him and Taylor. Like Taylor, also a really good receiver, but not the separator that Elijah Arroyo is. Yeah. Taylor's game is a little more well put together in terms of like everything for the tight end. Better blocker,
well rounded.
Yeah. No real injury concerns. That's really what the gap for me is. The injury history. Yeah. So he's got to worry about the durability, and like you said, like he tries at blocking, but it's
rough.
He's more inept at blocking than the other guys above him. But his receiving ability is
amazing.
Maybe tops of the class.
Yeah, it's like him and Colston Loveland as like the receiving guys, and Loveland does a little bit more obviously, but Arroyo, dude, receiving wise he's crisp, dude. He's very Evan Ingram when it comes to running routes and the way he's able to do stuff after the ball. He's quick. He's big. He's just a freak athlete, dude.
Evan Ingram wishes he was 250.
No, yeah, but Evan Ingram, he plays like that. Evan Ingram plays like Arroyo's going to play. If you get him in the middle of the field moving, he's going to get extra yards just based off his athleticism. Evan Ingram fell into the first round, I believe. I'm pretty sure we took him in the first round, second round.
Yeah,
The Giants,
he did make it to the first round.
yeah, the Giants took him
pick.
really early, so I think Arroyo has the chance to be the third tight end drafted, just based off his true athleticism. He's going to stretch the field as an NFL tight end, and that's game changing for an offense. If you have a tight end that can step on the field and outrun linebackers and outsize cornerbacks, he's a mismatch for 98% of the NFL defenses.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's talk about those big two. Colston Loveland, tight end, Michigan. We each had him number 2. 6'6", 248, almost 33-inch arms. Came in at 32 3/4, 10-inch hands. Incredible athlete. Plus level athleticism. Amazing. Excellent burst, real great acceleration. His catch radius, huge wingspan, and you can see that on tape. Like, he's able to secure the ball. He gets the ball at the highest point. He makes those jump balls. He's really good in contested situations. Clean route runner. He moves all over the field. He's young. He's such a good wide.
He's so young too.
He is. He's so Like, there's just room for him to get better. I was disappointed that he kind of took the step down this year. Like, his 2023 tape, a lot better than the 2024, but he was banged up. The offense wasn't as effective this year. Michigan had a rotating door at quarterback. They wish they had J.J. McCarthy. I know you lower on J.J. than I was, but man, did Colston Loveland miss that dude.
Yeah, it's not even comparable, and I wasn't huge on J.J., but the Michigan pass game was inept this year.
Yeah.
And, when I first started watching Loveland, the first 2 games, I'm like, okay, he's fine. It's there. It's just the passing game's a little bit rough. But the more I watched it, I'm like, oh, no, he's still there. He's still what he was.
Mm-hmm.
He had more touchdowns this year than he did last year, and he had more catches in 5 less games. Yeah. He only played 10 games this year. He played 15 last year because they went on the run.
Yeah, well, he's the only guy in the passing game this year, and
exactly,
it's his is a projection.
He's
it's
amazing,
similar to like Nico Collins, also out of Michigan. His was a lot of the numbers weren't overly productive. It was a lot of project. Nico looked the part on tape. It was a matter of putting it all together at the next level. He came out really young as well. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where we are with Colston Loveland. Michigan runs a 1940s offense where they just want to run the ball a million times, and it's really projecting their pass catchers. And Colston Loveland he's the projection. He does have some focus drops, and his hands aren't there is, I wouldn't say they're weak, but he does drop the ball more than you like compared to Mason Taylor, Elijah Arroyo, Tyler Warren. His hands aren't as great as their guys. The blocking technique, it's there. It's just, fine tooling it. He's big, so he obviously plays at a naturally high pad level. So if you can, tool that up, and then it's continuing to add the muscle, add the strength, which he has the frame to do so. It's all there. His is the projecting to the next level. It wouldn't surprise me if he is a much, much better pro than he was college player.
I think there's a chance him and Warren are both top 7 tight ends in the NFL. I think they're both going to be really, really good. He is really good, everything you said, but he does lack the top end speed for a tight end that you want, mismatch wise, but it's still there. And I noticed him coming out of breaks isn't as clean as I would want it to be for a guy that's going to be a pure receiving tight end. He's going to be blocking here and there, but he's going to be predominantly used as a receiver tight end in the NFL. Very Brock Bowers, in the slot, the screen. He's going to be schemed into plays because of the way he's so dynamic. But man, he's good, dude. There's not a lot of flaws. And these 2 top guys, I'm just nitpicking stuff breaking on routes. At the end of the day, he's still a mismatch on tight ends or on linebackers, on corners, on safeties.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Warren are just so good. They're so clean prospects, dude. But Warren is just.
I think they're both going to be in my top 10 when we complete our final big board. I think I'm going to have top 10 grades on both guys.
Well, Warren will definitely be the lower end of my top 10, and Loveland will be right there behind him. It's probably 8 and 12-ish range.
Yeah,
they're good though, dude. They're so good.
Let's talk Tyler Warren, Penn State. 6'5.5", 256, slightly below 32-inch arms, 31 3/4, 9.5-inch hands.
He's a massive human. Man, he is huge, dude.
Jack of all trades. I can't wait for him to be some team's tush push quarterback.
He has the ability, dude. He had 13 total touchdowns this year.
Yeah.
Eight
played
receiving
quarterback.
touchdowns, 4 rushing touchdowns, and a passing touchdown. And he played high school quarterback.
He kicked an extra point this year too.
He did.
All on one. It was one play. He snapped the ball. He caught the touchdown. He kicked the extra point.
Amazing.
Yeah, the dude is incredibly athletic, especially for his size. Strong bursts, great acceleration, really effective after the catch. Like, he gets the ball in his hands. Like, I watched Penn State. He was the Penn State offense in terms of the passing game. They have 2 really good running backs there.
They have 2 really good running backs.
No receivers of note at Penn State. So they were running screens to this dude, and he was just fucking yak machine. Like, and his yak wasn't all elusive. Like, he was just bowling people over. Like I said, like, reminds me of Dallas Clark. Really good with the ball in his hands. Good catch radius, which is surprising considering he's got shorter arms. But his ball tracking tracks the ball like a wide receiver. You hit him over the seam, and he's tracking the ball, watching for the shoulder. Good size, speed combo, catches at the high point, real versatile, played quarterback. They used him on running backs. They played a little fullback there. Like, he was playing everywhere this offense. Like, he's going to be a fun NFL addition.
Yeah.
His technique, like, he is a good blocker, but sometimes he doesn't stay with his blocks. I noticed, he struggled sometimes with some strong edge rushers. They would kind of get around him pretty easily. So he does need some refinement there in the blocking, especially in the run game. He doesn't really sustain his blocks. Like, he'll kind of get you, and then if Singleton or Katron Allen got by, he kind of let go, and then that guy ends up kind of tripping the running back up, and that's it really for him. Is just continuing on as a blocker. Like, the blocking's there. It's just sticking with it. And
I would say he's one of the better blocking tight ends in the class for sure.
He is. Yeah. It's sustaining
it's all nitpick stuff. We're just nitpicking his blocking, which is his downside. Like, these other guys are like, we're saying, oh, they're just not run blocking. He is a run blocker, and that's where you have to find his nitpicking is there. But dude, he's big, he's athletic, he's tough. He's literally whatever you need, whenever you need it for.
Exactly. He's the ultimate team player. Like,
there's nothing he won't do for the team. It doesn't matter what he does. He's such a good locker room dude. He's amazing, dude.
That George Kittle mentality.
Exactly, and that's who I compare him to, just based off everything he could do.
George Kittle could be the best tight end in football, but sometimes the Niners they just need him to block, and he's like, all right, let's get dirty.
And he loves it. And he loves every snap, dude.
He does. Yep.
Yeah. Every snap on the field is just like, it's a gift. He doesn't take anything for granted. He tries his hardest every single play. It doesn't matter if it's the first quarter or the fourth or overtime. You're getting the hell out of Tyler Warren. He's an amazing. Dude, what do I have here, dude? Oh my God, dude. His hips are smooth getting in and out of breaks. He doesn't need much space to make a catch, dude. His body control is out of this world. For a guy that's right, he's 6'5", dude, 6'5.5", and his body control is
he's almost 260 pounds.
Exactly, and he plays like a receiver. Like, his body control is a receiver, but he'll get down and dirty when needed, dude. Hey, yo, hands are natural, skilled, super strong. I found he was a pretty good lead blocker. He'll play through the whistle, dude, and he just does whatever needed to be done for him. And like you said, dude, he's just like the tush push, the wildcat. He brings so much versatility to an offense. And like, for that, I just couldn't put Colston Loveland above him. And like, real quick, we brought Tyler Warren, played quarterback in high school. A lot of these tight ends didn't play tight end in high school because they just translate to a tight end later on. Colston Loveland did, and it shows he played tight end his whole career. He's so polished to where a lot of these guys aren't. But Tyler Warren just plays at a different level than everybody else. And the transition,
on steroids.
He is an elite level Taysom Hill. And for like the jump he made from 23 to 24, if he makes even half of that jump going into next year, he's already going to be a top 7 tight end, dude. He's amazing, dude. He was so much fun to watch.
Just,
and I'm not here. I'm watching a bunch of Penn State guys
in fantasy, where just rookie tight ends are just number one.
It's been 2 years in a row.
We got 2 options this year in my eyes,
for sure.
in Loveland
I agree.
and Tyler Warren.
I was going to bring up that Tyler Warren's probably going to be a better real life tight end than Colston Loveland, but it would not surprise me if Colston Loveland is the better fantasy option for like fantasy football. Because like Colston Loveland can go out there and be a team's number one option, where Tyler Warren, he could do that, but that's not really his skill set. It's more of the George Kittle. Whatever you need me to do, I'll go down here. I'll block 10 straight plays. I don't care. I'm getting my hands dirty and I'm digging this guy into the dirt, and he loves that mentality. Where Colston Loveland can go out here and have 10 straight games with 70 catches, 80 yards, and it wouldn't surprise me either. They just play two different styles, and they're both going to be really good NFL players, dude.
Yep. They're the two kinds of tight ends you see nowadays. You got the ones who they bring everything to the game, and then you got the ones who are just, straight receivers, and that's where you can use them in the blocking game, but you'll take what you get there, but you'll take it because they provide so much upside as a receiving option.
It's the classic George Kittle, Travis Kelce debate for like 3-4 years ago, when like Kittle had his amazing season, and from there on out, it was, what do you prefer in a tight end? Do you want Travis Kelce, who's going to go out there, get 100 catches, 1,300 yards, probably 10 touchdowns, or you want George Kittle, who's going to get really close to 1,000 yards most seasons? He'll have his spike seasons, but he's going out there and doing whatever he's needed for the team. I would personally take the receiving tight end, but what Tyler Warren brings to a team, I couldn't put him under Colston Loveland, dude. He's so dynamic.
Yeah. All right. Top 10 tight ends in the books. A quick recap at 10. I have Joshua Simon from South Carolina. 9, Mitchell Evans from Notre Dame. 8, Aronde Gadsden II from Syracuse. 7, Gunnar Helm, Texas. Harold Fannin Jr. from Bowling Green at 6. Top 5, Terrence Ferguson from Oregon at 5. Elijah Arroyo, Miami at 4. Mason Taylor, LSU at 3. And then top 2, Colston Loveland, Michigan. And number 1, Tyler Warren, Penn State.
I would love to see someone not have one of those guys. Top 2. It would be insane. My top 10, Luke Lachey, Iowa. 9, Jake Bringingstool, Clemson. 8, Mitchell Evans, Notre Dame. 7, Terrence Ferguson, Oregon. 6, Gunnar Helm, Texas. 5, Harold Fannin Jr., Bowling Green. 4, Mason Taylor, LSU. Harold Fannin's Jr. 3, Elijah Arroyo, Miami. 2, Colston Loveland, Michigan, and then Tyler Warren 1. Top 2 dogs, dude. They're going to be top 18 picks in the NFL draft. They're going to get off the board quick. It wouldn't surprise me if they're both top 14 picks, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think one falls into the top 10, and then one goes to the Colts at 14, dude.
Yep. If Indy turns down one of those dudes, dude,
it would be insane.
I don't even know what's going on. But you mentioned like maybe someone just watches stats and they're just like, man, Harold Fannin Jr. Look at these numbers.
Yeah, this guy had friggin' 1,200
just
yards.
Looking at numbers, sure. Howard Fannin Jr. tight end 1. If you're just looking at
straight
receiving production,
yep.
But yeah, I can't see a world where somebody would put the 3 and 4 guys above Loveland and Warren. All right. Tight ends in the books.
Good class, dude. Good tight end class.
Yeah, compared to last year where it was really just a one-horse race.
It was just Brock Bowers, dude. And after that, it was like, it doesn't matter.
But that's my guy, Ben Sennett.
That's like the love of this draft class, dude. It's like the perfect storm of like a COVID season, the NLI season, the NLL, whatever it's called, and like the transfer portal guys. It's just like multiple classes merged into one, and it's a deep class. I'm talking like 4th round, 5th round guys that are going to be pretty good NFL players.
Yeah, yep. Meat and potatoes. You're gonna build a team through this draft, real strong there. And Friday we don't record Fridays. Thursday we'll do free agent stuff. I think.
Yeah, we'll touch a little bit on free agents.
And then next
a lot of moves,
week,
dude. A lot of moves have happened, dude.
Next week we'll be looking at a mock and finally
defensive
finishing
side of the ball.
Offense.
Oh no, what do we got?
Wide receivers.
Oh, we haven't even done receivers yet. I totally forgot.
Wide receivers, baby. We keep pushing it off because we want to
a deep
gotta
class.
watch 60 receivers, and I have done full evals on 5. So I got
the receiver class is weird. Like it's
stuff.
It's like the
It's
top,
okay.
like it's like
Yeah,
top
it's not,
four
it's not
guys
top
in my
heavy,
eyes.
but it's
But after like
Yeah.
the top 4 or 5 guys, it's just kind of like you could go down like 16 or all in the same bucket. And it's like, oh, this is weird.
Yep.
It's a
Yeah.
weird class, dude. Receivers are weird this
All
year.
right. Yeah, so we'll end the week with some free agent stuff, and
Yes,
then
sir.
next week we'll do a mock and wide receivers. What order? I don't know yet.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Drafted Up Podcast. You know where to find us at @draftedup_pod on the Twitter
Oh, yeah.
/X. If I really wanted to dive into it, I get one of those Twitter knockoffs like Blue Sky, because Twitter was down during free agent period and everybody jumped to Blue Sky, and I'm like, I don't know what that is.
I also don't know what that is. We might
Yep.
be old.
So
I thought Threads was a thing.
Yep. That's like Instagram, Twitter. I don't know.
I don't know what any of these
anyways,
things are, dude.
Yeah. At @draftedup_pod over on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. More importantly, you can find the show, Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, or Spotify also has the video up as
Oh,
well,
yeah.
or you can watch it on YouTube. Just search Drafted Up Podcast, like, rate, subscribe, review, share.
Who wouldn't want to
you know,
watch these beautiful faces talk
Yeah.
about grown-ass men running at a combine?
Yep. Yeah, in tights.
The tightest of shirts, dude.
Yes, yeah. Except for the one guy who forgot.
James Pierce.
James Pierce, who forgot his shirt.
Forgot
Yep.
his shirt, so ran in a
Yep.
hoodie. Just let the
Yeah.
man run shirtless, dude. Who cares?
Yeah. Yeah, I want to watch him naked.
Hey,
Shorts only.
Yo, hey.
Shorts only. Naked
Yo.
upper half.
That's not what he said. This guy wants to see some swinging meat running the 40, dog.
Yeah, baby. Show your dominance. Hit the blocking sleds.
Butt
Full
ass
nude.
naked, baby.
Yeah.
Down and dirty.
I want to see those clenched cheeks, baby. All right. We're getting way too off
this
topic
up.
here. All right. We're going to get flagged
Yeah,
on YouTube.
Follow
Yeah.
us. Go tell a friend.
Yeah.
Tell your mom. Tell your grandmom.
Yep.
Like-
Share the podcast. Like
Like
rate,
and
subscribe.
subscribe. Yep.
Yeah. We appreciate all of it. And we'll catch you guys next week here on the Drafted Up Podcast. Adios.
Oh, yeah. Bye.